BMW has done some, well, interesting cars in the last 10 years. The X6, the 7 Series, even the 5 Series are guaranteed to provoke a reaction, if only for the way they look rather than if they're actually any good. And now they're about to do it again. Meet the 5 Series Gran Turismo, a giant estate limo that, BMW says, is a genuinely new type of car.
Even the language BMW is using to describe this car is different to what you'd expect. This press release, which describes the 5 Series GT, is full of words like comfortable, well-being, slightly elevated driving position, and apparently the panorama roof provides a particularly pleasant travel experience. Hardly the sort of language you'd expect from a car company that's founded its reputation on providing dynamic, exciting rear-wheel drive cars that offer real driving excitement. This is more like a nice cup of tea and a sit down.
There's only one way to find out what's going on. Talk to Adrian van Hooydonk, the man who designed it. Unfortunately, he's in New York. So we'll talk to the man who, until last week, was in charge of BMW design, Mr. Chris Bangle. Chris Bangle, you were the design boss of the BMW group. Adrian's not here, so what exactly is this car about?
Well, it's about putting the customer first, which we always do in our hearts, and we really, like customers who like to drive sportily. But it turns out that there's a lot of customers out there who maybe haven't found a BMW they like because they have other needs that have to be listened to. Needs about what's the daily use of it, some extra functions. How come I have to sacrifice leg room if I want to have more trunk room, and vice versa? So with this vehicle, probably unlike any other car we ever started with, we didn't have a preconceived notion what it would be and then just kind of modify it until you find out what you want. We really started with asking, how do people really like to drive? How do they really use their cars? And then around that we basically encapsulated the idea of huge interior space. It is the concept 5 Series Gran Turismo. I mean, just think of that name, Gran Turismo. This is about driving in style. There's nothing here about crossing over this with crossing over that or giving it 3-letter names or anything. It's really about what is the aesthetics of a lifestyle, which is about first class. Come on, first class, you expect to be treated well, but you don't expect to be treated well inside of a box, right? You expect to have a little bit of an experience inside and outside the car. And to get that here, that's quite a hat trick.
BMW has always been traditionally about driving. It's a driving machine, it's rear-wheel drive, the dynamics, the weight distribution is very important. The customers, the people that are buying this car, are they less interested in that, do you think, than another BMW customer?
Well, let's put it this way. They're buying a BMW and they expect the best, right? So ultimate driving machine, what? I'm going to have not the ultimate drive? I don't think so, right? They definitely want that. But they also understand that they want a car that they can use every day. And so, for instance, this car's got one of the best proportion of the wheelbase length for the size of the car, and that makes the car very agile in that sense. And at the same time, it's using components that we've developed on our vehicles that we have before, so we really know how they work. And it wouldn't be a BMW unless those engineers who drive it on the racetrack sign it off. This is the big trunk area. You see the entire thing opens up here. It has a large access space in it. This can go down underneath here. Now we're going to open the small boot. There's 2 levers under here. This one's on this side. The small boot now, okay, that's plenty of room to get the luggage in and out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same space as before, and now you can get in and out over this. But you'll notice it's entirely sealed off from the interior compartment, just like it would be in a limousine. But we wanted to go beyond just a limousine. We wanted to give you that first class seating experience. And we wanted to do it without adding on to it all the extra costs of a really long stretched limousine, so suddenly you're in a different price category and suddenly you're in a different image category. I think this vehicle probably will have a great success because it doesn't fit in any of those pigeonholes.
Inside this car, we've got what is called a semi-command driving position. Have I got that right? Is that
right,
what we're
because
describing this
as I
as?
said, you sit about this much higher than in a 5 Series, and you sit about that much lower than you would in an X5. You feel you're really in a command type of environment here, but you don't have a whole lot of car to deal with. The car is actually quite competitive. You see there's a lot of glass in here, and also the windshield is not that raked back. It's not as flat as you could possibly imagine. And in fact, the shoulder line on the outside does give you a certain amount of view outside. You don't feel like you're too squished in. When you look down at an instrument panel like you are doing here, this is what changes your impression of, am I in an X vehicle or am I in a limousine? And so this is a whole new definition. If you actually look at how this shelf section works here, we've never had a car like that before.
So, is this car the automotive equivalent of a warm cup of Tetley and a soggy digestive biscuit? No, I think there's more to it than that. It's got some very, very clever features. And if they can get the market positioning right and the price right, it's probably going to sell quite well. Not in the UK though, you're only going to see around 2,000 of them sold there a year. But they really need this car to sell in America and across continental Europe. It has got some chance, definitely, but it's just, will people really understand what it actually is?